All right, I'm here with my friend Tim from Carabassa Valley, Maine, who has quite the elaborate Goal Zero setup. And the first thing he's got is
a Nomad 200.
So 200 watt solar panel, briefcase style.
Sure.
I guess it folds up pretty easily.
Folds up. Nice little Velcro tabs everywhere.
Oh, nice. Wow, that's convenient.
And then this flips over. And then you're on your way.
That is, that's fantastic.
It's, you know, not super light, but for 200 watts,
That's great.
not going to do much better.
No.
It comes with both Anderson power pole, and it comes with a little USB. So if you just want to plug your phone directly into that, you can.
And you have party lights?
I don't remember what they call these, but they're little mini LED lights. They come in this nice little bag. You get 4 of them that you can string together. They've got about 4 feet between each one, so you can chain them together.
And what do you use those for?
Use these camping. Put them out at the campsite.
I don't know if we have any sunlight at the moment. Oh, look at that. That's running off the panel?
Yep, it's running right off the panel.
I don't know if you can see that, but we do have light.
And then you can chain these guys together. Goal Zero says officially that you can chain 4 of these together, and that if you try to chain more than 4, you may start running out of voltage at the end. I've put 8 of them in a line and didn't have an issue. And they've all got a low and a high power setting.
They're decently bright.
Yeah, especially at night.
And somehow you're getting some power in, even though there's no sunlight.
Yep. Yep, we'll go to that end.
Is that
shortly.
directly south up there?
Yes, pretty much. The house is pretty much north-south.
House is kind of north-south.
Yeah.
And you got a big long cable running to...
Inside.
To
the Yeti.
Okay, we're on the back deck, and he's got 4 more panels.
Yeah.
What are these?
These are 4 Boulder 100s, so 100 watts each. This is what I used most of the winter. The Nomad was a recent addition.
Okay, 4 Boulder 100. So you have 400 plus 200 is 600 watts.
So I've got 600 watts going into the battery.
Wow. Into a
Yeti 1500X.
Okay, that's what I have.
Yep. And
cool.
These panels are, again, not cheap, but they're super rugged. I don't have these tied down or anything.
Right.
And in the winter, twice, the wind got this one and blew it over onto the deck. And
oh, geez.
no issues at all. I've got it bunged right now.
Yeah. Okay, so they have little stands.
Yep, they have stands. So
look at that.
Yeah, so each one has an 8mm port coming off of it, which goes into, this is the Goal Zero 8mm combiner, which goes to the Anderson power pole, or the HPP.
Yep.
And then I have this HPP extension cord, which runs into the house connected to the battery.
Okay. So you have 2 of those connected to the battery, seems.
I do.
Okay. So here is your Goal Zero getting no input whatsoever.
Right.
Because the sun's not on.
Right.
But
now I've got this plugged in. Oh, see, noticed it jumped up to 18 and then down to 0.
Yeah.
So what we discovered from Goal Zero tech support was that there's some sort of a combination of a lower limit on volts, amps, and or watts that the built-in charge controller doesn't recognize most anything under 20 watts. So you notice right now it's 0, even though we're probably getting something.
Oh, there we went to 18 and then to 0. So that's one thing I saw on mine.
Now, what I did do as an experiment was I bought the accessory MPPT controller, which typically you would only put that into a Yeti that did not come with one, and this one comes with one built in.
Right.
But what I've noticed is that this one will pick up solar under 20 watts. So if we give this just a second or two, I bet you it's going to come up with 5 or 6 or 10 watts or something. And of course, right now it's making me look like a fool.
Because we're videoing. But there is like no sun out at the moment.
Right. Oh, see, there we go. There's 13.
Yeah, 13. Okay.
And it will probably stay right around that. You know, it might go up
Now,
a couple, down a couple.
Do you think
but
you're actually getting 13 on that one and it's just not displaying, or you don't really know?
The answer that I got out of Goal Zero was kind of ambiguous as to whether it's actually charging and not displaying, or whether it's actually not charging at all.
How did you combine your two inputs?
So here's my two inputs.
Yeah.
One of these is coming off of the 4 Boulder 100s.
Yeah.
One's coming off the Nomad 200.
Yeah.
And this is a Goal Zero 4x HPP, or Anderson Power Pole connector combiner.
Oh.
So I've got those 4 that
Going
now
into
combine
one.
into one.
Wow. I'm assuming all these combiners are expensive?
They're fairly expensive, but
Yep.
they're really, really nice quality. And they're solidly made, and they use a beefy gauge. These 30-foot ones are 14 gauge. This is a 30-foot one, which is a 12 gauge.
What was your plan? What were you going to run with this?
Well, the plan is kind of emergency backup power for when the power goes out here, which is fairly frequently. So eventually I will pull out this accessory MPPT and put in the Yeti Link accessory, which then allows you to connect a bunch of the Goal Zero non-lithium battery, which will allow me to, you know, double or triple the battery capacity that I have for longer power outages. But yet at the same time, this is a, you know, a fairly portable unit, so I can just unplug this and grab it and take it with me in the car if I need portable power somewhere else. Right now, you can see the AC power is on.
You got 8 watts of output.
I've got 8 watts of output, which is actually just the overhead of the inverter. If I unplug this, you'll see that 8 watts is actually going nowhere.
Okay.
It's just the power to actually run the inverter. I have a small chest freezer that most of the time is connected to that.
Okay, that's right over here.
Yep.
What would you run during a power outage?
During the power outage, I will run my pellet stove.
Oh.
So my heat source in this house is primarily a pellet stove, and you know the backup is an oil burner. So without electricity, we have no power, but I can power my pellet stove with this. Especially in the winter, in a power outage, I'll power my pellet stove and then run the main fridge and freezer in the house for a few hours here and there.
How long do you think it would run your fridge and
fridge
the pellet stove?
And the pellet stove. It'll run the pellet stove, if I had no solar input, it would run the pellet stove for probably 12 to 18 hours. It'll run the refrigerator for probably a couple of days. Combined, not so long, but I rely on the solar to keep topping it off as much as possible. Typically around here, when we get a windstorm that knocks out the power, it's because a cold front's moved through, and typically behind that cold front, we've got some decent sun.
Yeah. Would you bring this upstairs, and then how would you charge from the sun?
Most of the time, I will leave it right here and just run
extension cords?
A long extension cord upstairs.
Okay.
I do have this, but it's obviously not hooked up yet.
What's that?
This is the home integration kit that Goal Zero sells.
No way.
So it's basically a power transfer switch. As soon as I can get an electrician here, I will connect this to my circuit breaker, to my main panel.
Yeah.
This has 4 15 amp circuits on it, so I can pick a bunch of circuits in the house, to power. Then this gets connected. When I want to power a part of the house off the Yeti battery, I can plug one end of this into the transfer switch, one end into the battery, into the AC port, and then I can flip here between, do I want the power for those circuits in the house coming from the line, or if I'm in a power outage, off what they call the generator, in this case the battery.
Oh, cool. Now that would be slick. Then you don't have to run an extension cord and you could run other things.
Exactly. And even this time of year where I'm not so worried about power outages, I'm generating enough solar power that
you could use it.
I can use it. I'm generating more than I can use right now. There's often times when my battery is 100% full and the solar panel is picking up power. And so it'd be great just to be able to take a couple circuits in my house, for example, like my office space, and just say, you know what, I'm just going to flip that on to battery power for a few hours and use up the battery.
Sounds good. Well, that's quite the setup, Tim.
So far. So I'm still going to add the Yeti Link battery, accessory batteries, the non-lithium ones, to really extend my power further.
Yeah, I had a Goal Zero Yeti 1250, which I could chain another battery to it.
Yep.
I didn't know you could chain more batteries to this one.
When you bought your Yeti, they didn't likely have those out yet.
No,
those
they
just
didn't.
came out in the last, I don't know, 6 months or so.
Okay.
The Yeti link for these, and so yeah, you can tie a ton of batteries to these things.
Oh.
You can see the compressor for my chest freezer just kicked on, and so you can see there's output now of
Oh, yeah.
50 to 60 watts to
Yep.
to power the chest
And we're still
freezer.
getting 14 in.
I'm still getting 14 in.
Do you find the auxiliary charge controller better than the built-in one?
Hard to say. If there's a difference, it's not huge.
Okay.
Other than below 20 watts, whether
Right.
there's power coming in or not, you can't tell on the internal
So
controller.
if we had a sunny day and you were getting, how many watts did you have?
I've got
You have
600 watts of panels.
What's the most you've ever seen?
390,
Okay.
which
Is not bad.
not bad considering, you typically expect your maximum to be about 70% of
Right.
rating.
Yep.
And the fact that all those panels are connected by 30 feet of cable, and so you're going to have a decent amount of voltage loss across that 30 feet. According to calculators I've used online, you input the length of the cable and the gauge of the cable and the material, and it estimates the amount of losses. It estimates the losses out of those cables at around 15 to 20%, but I haven't experienced that. I've brought the battery physically close to the panel, connected the panels pretty much directly into the Yeti with the 4-foot cable that it comes with, and then swapped it out and put the 30-foot extension cord in line, and saw very little difference in wattage. But I mean, physics says you should experience a good amount of voltage loss there, but it's not what I saw. The cables seem to be doing well.
Well, that's quite the setup. Especially when you get this hooked up, that'll be really cool.
Right, and my electrical panel is right there.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
So, I'm going to mount it right to the right of the panel and just be able to come down and flip it right there.
Very good. Well, thank you for showing me all this.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. I appreciate it. I kind of like to do this myself. I really like your flexible panels.
Yeah.
Those are pretty nice. I mean, the way they pack up so small and easily.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
very cool. All right, Tim. Well, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Okay. Bye.
See ya.